There was a Wisconsin poet, I forget her name right now, but she wrote a little poem about watching boats on a lake. And she said, some go east, some go west, but it's the self-same winds that blow. It's not the gale, it's the set of the sail that determines which way that boat's going to go. And said, give that to your faculty and find out what's the set of the sail, for your school. What do you think it is? And what do administration thinks it is? And what's moving it? And I think those are good studies for school people. We had a plan, we had a mission, we had a core group going in the same direction. And that's where I think our strength is. And I grew. And that's when I started to write a little and things like that. So every place I went, I think I grew from. And wonder why I didn't grow quicker or faster beforehand. But it was facing a new problem that you grew. And maybe right now, in the sesquicentennial years, maybe our schools will be facing new problems and they'll have to grow from them. So I came back here and I was on the college campus and I couldn't believe how Memphis changed so quickly. I think it was almost like now breaking out of the pandemic. World War II had finally broken. We were over 10 years, of course, but I mean for it to catch on and people to move around. Many new people moved into town. New companies moved into town. It was really starting to go. And here I was put into university. And what was going on with the high school, it was new plans put up for high school already. And I was just there. I had nothing to say about the plans except to look at them when they were all done. And just work on the drive trying to raise funds for it, of course. But it was different. We were growing, we were opening up. And that's when civil rights was just starting, a movement, and it was in the South, but it wasn't getting much traction here in Memphis. Memphis was still that slow-moving, not willing to make many changes type place. So that's how it was. And that's when Jesse Turner became a black who wanted to come in. A real challenge to the Memphis culture and the Southern laws around. And I think in typical brother style, we said, certainly he's welcome. Well, why not? And of course, some of the people didn't think so, but they didn't say much to me because I think they knew the brothers. They knew the brothers were going to go ahead and do this and you weren't going to stop them. But it wasn't until May that the problem arose because the bishop came out with a statement that we're going to integrate, but not right away. Where high schools will have to wait about 5 years or something like that, for some reason or another. Well, I got that letter from him, and I still remember sitting in that chair in that office. I said, I can't believe it. I thought when I let him know that we had taken in, I let him know that after he put that out, that we already were ahead of him. I thought I'd get congratulated for being a blocker on his. It wasn't that at all. I couldn't believe it. Then, so I went out. I remember going to see 2 priests in the diocese who had some blacks in their parish and find out how they're doing. And each of them, very much for what I was doing or what we were doing, but they felt the bishop ran the place. That was it. I didn't feel that way. I thought the parish priests were running this place here in Memphis. See, the bishop was up in Nashville. We didn't have a diocese here at that time. And he was, everything he knew about Memphis, he got from some of the priests. And some of these priests did not disturb the parishioners. I'm trying to talk around the problem right now. I decided I'm going to just charge right ahead. And so when I got the second notice saying we reviewed the case and still don't take them, I said, I'm going to call his mother, Mrs. Turner. Mrs. Turner, to me, is a modern-day saint, good person. So I didn't know at that time what I was getting into. I went over to their house. I made an appointment, and she said, maybe you should call my husband first. I called him, and he was non-Catholic. His wife wanted the son in the Catholic school. It was fine with him, but he wanted to know why. And I told him, well, we want the boy. We want your son. It's not us. It's the diocese. And he listened. He didn't say much. And he had been a World War II veteran and everything else, and he'd been buffeted and ran through the race quiz a lot of times. So he thinks it's just another setback, I think. So I went over to the house. It was a hot summer afternoon, and I found the location, went in. She opened the door, and the kids were playing in the living room. I still remember that. And she said, now, children, outside. And they all scurried out. And it must have been her kids and some neighborhood kids, because there were more than the number. And she wheeled around. I never saw a quicker dance pirouette than that. She came right around and said, brother, I will not permit these children to hear what you are going to tell me. Whew. I mean, that took the wind out of me right away. I didn't come to tell her. I came to tell her that I'd tried everything we could, now that I need help. So we talked about it, and I encouraged her to do whatever she could, and through her husband, who was head of the NAACP, to get this thing moving. Even, we questioned suing and everything else, and said, go ahead. I mean, I was ready for a fight. If the trumpet makes an uncertain sound, what will call the troops to battle? And I think that fits us today. If the brothers and the laity at the school don't make a clear sound of who we are and where we're going, we won't get the troops, the kids coming into our school. We won't get the people joining the boards. We won't getting support. And I left the house, and I didn't know what was happening. She made an arrangement to see Father Elliott at Catholic High, who was the superintendent of schools. I understand the meeting didn't go well, but she went there to explain, okay, we'll sue. And she prepared a letter and sent it to the bishop. And within a short time, because the bishop, I don't think the bishop should be put in a situation of being racist. I think because in Nashville, he had some schools that were integrated. I think it was hearing the voice of Memphis. And I'll never forget that. It came from Memphis, not him, and some of the priests. So a couple of days later, they reviewed the case again and thought, well, maybe under those conditions, you better let him in. It was sort of the idea, you created this storm now. And because of that, we got to go along with it. That was the interpretation I took. And it went on.